The Curious Case of Benjamin Button by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Roger Button and his wife have decided their first child should be born in a hospital, though at the time this was unusual as most babies were born at home. The year is 1860, and the Buttons live in Baltimore, where Roger is the financially successful owner of Roger Button and Company, wholesale hardware. The Buttons are prominent members of the elite in antebellum Baltimore society. Roger wants to have a boy one day so that he can go to Yale University, which is where he went to college. Roger rushes to the Maryland Private Hospital for Ladies and Gentlemen in the morning of September 9th, which is when the baby is due. He makes sure he is well dressed. He's both scared and excited. Roger runs into the family doctor, Dr. Kean, just outside the hospital. Dr. Kean looks weird, which makes Roger worry. He asks him about his wife and new baby. Dr. Kean does not answer directly, and he seems to be annoyed by something to do with the birth of Roger's child. Roger presses the doctor for details about what happened, but the doctor snaps that Roger should go and see for himself. Dr. Kean angrily complains that his reputation could be ruined and that he never wants to see Roger Button or his family again. Dr. Kean then abruptly leaves. Roger Button enters the hospital slowly because he is scared. He meets the nurse at the front desk and introduces himself. The nurse's happy face quickly changes to one of worry. When Roger asks to see his baby, the nurse tells him to go upstairs. He meets another nurse on the second floor. When he told the nurse who he was and asked to see his baby, she was so shocked that she dropped her basin, and it smashed down the stairs. She agrees to take Roger to see the child, but complains that the hospital's reputation has been ruined. Roger goes with the nurse to the room where the babies are kept. He asks which baby is his, and the nurse points. Roger doesn't understand what he sees. One of the cribs has a man who looks to be 70 years old squished into it and wrapped in a white blanket. Roger Button doesn't want to believe that this is his new baby, but the nurse tells him it is. The old man asks Roger if he is his father and if he can get him out of there. At first, Roger Button doesn't believe that this old guy is his newborn baby, but the nurse keeps telling him that it is, and that he needs to take him home today. The old man is happy about this and complains that all the other kids are crying, and that they only give him milk to drink. Roger Button stands there dumbfounded and starts to picture how embarrassing it must be to have to bring this child home. The nurse tells Roger and his child to leave right away, but the elderly man protests and says he won't leave the hospital in just a blanket. After that, the nurse tells Roger to get clothes for the old man in town. As Roger leaves, the old man calls out to him and says not to forget to buy him a walking stick as well. At the shop, there is some confusion between Mr. Button and the clerk. Mr. Button doesn't think it proper to dress his son as a man, but of course, a boy's clothes won't fit him. Mr. Button ends up buying a fancy suit for a teenager because he doesn't want to tell anyone the truth about his unusual situation. The old man isn't sure what to think when he shows the suit to him back at the hospital. He doesn't want to look stupid. Mr. Button insists that he put it on, saying that it is the old man who has made him look stupid. The old man looks ridiculous in this suit made for a young boy, which comes with pink pants and socks with dots on them. To try and make up for this, Mr. Button chops off the old man's long grey beard with hospital scissors. Gathering his courage, Mr. Button takes his son's hand and leads him out of the hospital. When his son asks what they will call him, Roger jokes that they will call him Methuselah. Mr. Button persists in trying to make his son, now named Benjamin, appear as normal as possible. His hair is dyed dark, and his beard is shaved close. He has a confused tailor make clothing for a young boy, but specially fitted for a 5'8" adult. Benjamin still walks with a hunchback and looks like an old man, despite all of these changes. Mr. Button doesn't change his mind. At first, he makes Benjamin drink milk instead of food, but then he gives in and lets him have bread and butter too. He brings home toys for babies and children and commands Benjamin to play with them. However, Benjamin's old man tastes cannot be suppressed. He smokes his father's cigars and reads the encyclopedia. In the beginning, the Buttons' new child is a big deal in Baltimore. But when the Civil War breaks out the following year, the Buttons' drama is forgotten. Benjamin keeps trying his best to make his parents happy. He patiently goes on play dates with neighborhood teenage boys. Benjamin's father is almost proud of him when he breaks a window with a slingshot by accident. After that, every day, Benjamin tries to break something. However, Benjamin finds that he is most comfortable in the company of his grandfather, talking about daily events. At age 5, Benjamin is sent to kindergarten, but he is bored by it and frequently dozes off during activities. When Benjamin's teacher tells his parents about the problem, Benjamin is taken out of school, which makes him very happy. By age 12, Benjamin's parents begin to get used to him. Around this time, Benjamin looks in the mirror and discovers that he seems to have gotten younger these past 12 years. He doesn't stoop anymore, and he feels better physically than ever. Benjamin finally gets the nerve to ask his dad if he can wear long pants like a grown-up. Ben's father, who promised to treat him like any other 12-year-old boy, resists at first. They came to an agreement that Benjamin could wear long pants as long as he kept dyeing his hair and playing with boys his own age. Ben Button gets younger as time goes on. Benjamin, who is 18 years old but looks 50, takes the tests to get into Yale as a student. The registrar thinks he is his father when he goes to the office of the register. The registrar doesn't believe Benjamin when he says that he is Benjamin Button, an 18-year-old college student. Benjamin is kicked out of the office by the register, who calls him a dangerous lunatic. On his way back to the train station, Benjamin notices that a crowd of students has gathered and is following him. The people in the crowd jeer at him and make fun of him as he boards the train. As the train pulls away, Benjamin yells out the window that they will all regret this. Benjamin Button begins to work for his father's company. Now that he's 20 years old, his father insists on taking him out socially to dances and parties. An important man's daughter, Hildegard Moncrief, meets Benjamin at one of these parties, and he falls in love with her right away. Hildegard agrees to a dance with Benjamin. She thinks Benjamin is the brother of his father, but Benjamin doesn't correct her because he remembers what happened at Yale. Hildegard tells him that she likes older men, and they get along great. Benjamin spends the rest of the night in a love-induced daze. 6 months later, Benjamin and Hildegard tell everyone that they're getting married. This makes a lot of people talk about Benjamin and who he really is. None of these stories tell the real truth, and Benjamin becomes known as the Mystery Man of Maryland. Roger Button publishes Benjamin's birth certificate as proof of his authenticity, but people refuse to believe it because of Benjamin's appearance. Hildegard won't accept the real story that Benjamin is 20 years old because she has heard so many lies. Ben's business sense is a big part of why the Buttons hardware store grows and does so well over the next 15 years. The family becomes so wealthy that, despite what people said before, high society in Baltimore has no choice but to accept them. Benjamin himself looks and feels younger than ever. His enthusiasm is high, and he loves having fun. In fact, he is the first person in Baltimore to own a car. His father now loves him very much, and Benjamin even makes things better with his father-in-law. Unfortunately, as Benjamin grows younger, he becomes less and less attracted to Hildegard. She is getting older and slowing down, while he is getting younger and speeding up. Benjamin becomes so restless that he decides to enlist in the army when the Spanish-American War begins. Benjamin does a great job and gets a medal. When he comes back, he is greeted by a brass band. When Benjamin gets home from the war, he looks in the mirror and is shocked to see that he looks younger than ever. He had hoped that his backward aging would stop once his true age matched his appearance, but that does not appear to be happening. He talks about this with Hildegard, which makes her mad. She yells at him and says he did it on purpose. She won't accept that Benjamin can't help his condition. Feeling more energetic than ever, Benjamin continues to drag Hildegard out to parties. Some people say it's sad that Benjamin is married to a woman who is so much older than him. Benjamin starts to play golf and loves to dance. As he and his wife continue to grow apart, Benjamin begins to contemplate handing over the family business to his now grown son, Roscoe. Benjamin started his first year at Harvard in 1910. Right away, he does well, joins the football team, and shines in the game against Yale. It's just that Benjamin gets younger and smaller every year, making him worse at football. At age 18, Benjamin looks like a beginner, so he doesn't make the team at all. Classes become too hard for him. After graduation, Benjamin moves back to Baltimore. Ben moves in with Roscoe since Hildegard is now living in Italy. Living together is difficult. Roscoe is a well-known person who doesn't want any trouble or gossip. Benjamin is mostly in the way as he grows younger still. When Benjamin asks Roscoe to enroll him at a prep school for boys, Roscoe refuses. Roscoe criticizes Benjamin for continuing to grow younger and demands that he call him uncle instead of Roscoe to make things appear more normal. A depressed Benjamin begins thinking about the ongoing war in Europe, which America has just joined. In fact, just then there's a knock on the door, and the butler hands Benjamin a letter. It is from the U.S. Army, explaining that soldiers who fought in the Spanish-American War are being called back into service. The letter commissions Benjamin as Brigadier General and orders him to report for duty immediately. Benjamin runs to the tailor to get an outfit tailored to his size, and then he gets on a train to train at Camp Mosby in South Carolina. The watch guard at camp doesn't believe Benjamin when he says he is who he says he is. Benjamin makes a scene, but no one pays attention. After 2 days, his son, Roscoe, comes to take him home. By 1920, Benjamin looks like a 10-year-old boy, and Roscoe has his first child. Roscoe is embarrassed that his son's grandfather looks so young. He refuses to believe anything other than that Benjamin is doing this on purpose, and he denounces it as perverse and inefficient. When Roscoe's boy is 5, he and Benjamin look the same age and are taken care of by the same nurse. They both go to kindergarten, and Benjamin really enjoys it this time. After a year, Roscoe's son moves on, but Benjamin stays in kindergarten. After 3 years, Benjamin is deemed too young to be in kindergarten and goes home to be looked after by the nurse full-time. Benjamin is like a child, he repeats new words, jumps on the bed, and plays soldier. Benjamin doesn't think about things or worry about them anymore. He doesn't remember being an adult. He doesn't dream. Soon, all he is aware of is when he is hungry, and he no longer understands what other people are saying when they speak. In the end, he forgets everything about him, and it's all dark.